Okay. Fine. Right. So I think we have. We'll just give a little bit more time to formally start the class, but we'll anyway start our discussion. So Prakash and Amritesh, any brush up with Python so far? Have you heard about it? What exactly it is? What is the purpose of it? Okay, Prakash, I think you are. Okay, so Amritesh has got dropped. So Prakash, have you done something on Python? Okay, so you are familiar with the Python environment and all, a little bit, to some extent. I can't hear you, Prakash. Are you mute? No, you're not mute. Okay, so you guys have got. Okay, there's an echo. You guys could get your setup planning. I don't know from whose mic this echo is coming, but Python installation is done for all of you, or it's yet to be installed?
Sir, I have Python shell and PyCharm. So which one are you going to use?
Yeah, very good. So that is what we need. How about you, Prakash and Amritesh? Do you have this Python and PyCharm with you? Could you
Yes.
get it? Okay. Okay, good, good. Okay, fine. So we will actually get started with the class today. Now, as part of this curriculum of this Python programming, I'll just take you through what all are the things which we cover. And since all of you have some little bit of Python knowledge, you can just tell me if you understand these topics or not. Okay. So now here we will be covering about Python. This will be the topic of discussion for today's class. Okay, introduction to Python. Then in next sessions we do some tools of Python like Jupyter Notebook, and then different ways how to use PyCharm. Then there is something called Ideally, all that is there. Then variables and blocks. How do you create variables and blocks in Python? Then we get on to data types and string. String is a very useful data type in programming in Python and in any other language. And then you write some, during the class, you write some of the programs to reverse the string or try out different data types. Then you get on with numbers, Boolean, and none types. Now here you also create kilometer to miles converter. That's a part of the classwork. Then you get on with control flow statements, which will be like if, while loop, right? So this is all you do. And then basically as part of this, you create some games also, like number guessing game, dice roll game. Then also if the user is entering number positive, negative, you just tell, okay, whether it's number is positive, negative, or even or not. This is again part of classwork assignment. Then we get on with for loop. Here you have this factorial and prime number as a classwork. Then we get on with function and file IO. File IO is nothing but the file input and output, which is file operation. So using file IO APIs, you can actually access any file, read or write to that file. Okay, and as part of classwork, you will be reading a file and you'll be counting characters, words, and lines in the file. Okay, along with creating some of the functions. And you will also create a simple banking application, which is your penny bank application, or actually a piggy bank application, a simple one, which sets the ground for a more sophisticated banking application, which is a full-fledged project which you have to build, which is banking application. And that's, I'm just going to give a demo to you about this banking application. It's kind of close to real life project, a simpler version of it, but building this end to end will give you a very good idea about how to build a software project. Okay, so when I run this banking system program, it asks me the account number. So here I'm going to give the account number of the manager, which is 10,000. And PIN number is what I'm going to assign, which is 1234, PIN of manager. And then the system authenticates me and it recognizes me. Okay, yeah, I'm the manager. So it authenticates me. So here I want to create an account for the user. Okay, let's say this time user is Prakash. Okay, that's the name of the user, and 4-digit PIN. Let's say 5566, and then provide opening balance. Let's say Prakash starts with opening balance of 25,000. Okay, so the account has been created, and I got the account number of Prakash. Now I'll try to log in to Prakash account. Okay, so I enter this account number, and the PIN was 5566. Okay. So then we get this menu option, and it identifies, okay, this is Prakash account. And then when I basically, what I try to do is I want to check my balance because I deposited 25,000. Let's see what's the balance. Okay, yeah, it is indeed 25,000. Now, next option, I want to withdraw money. So I will say 2 and enter amount you want to withdraw. Let's say I want to withdraw 5,000. And okay, it says withdraw successful. Let me check the balance again. So okay, 25,000 minus 5,000, 20,000 is what I get. Let's deposit some money. So I try option 3, and when I'm depositing money, let's say I'm depositing 2,000. Again, let's check the balance. Okay, it is 22,000, and then I can exit the system. So this in some way you would see in some of the banking applications, maybe in ATM or something, but building this will give you a very good idea about creating programs because learning programming is not about knowing the syntax, but putting the logic together. That is an important aspect. How do you put the logic together is what is crucial when you're writing the program, because syntax and all you can know, but putting the logic you have to think through. Okay, you need to have mathematical mind or as well as logical mind. No, you should think through. You have to break the problem into smaller chunks, and then you solve that problem. And that's how you solve bigger problems. You solve complex problems by breaking it. Okay, so this is the project which we will demonstrate in the class, but you will have to go and build yourself. Okay, then we will get on with the collections like list tuples, a dictionary, and set. So these are advanced data types which lets you capture multiple items, not just one. Like now we have variables like integer or different data types like integer, float, string, right? There you're dealing with one item, but with list you can deal with collection of items, which is basically different sequences or items of your choice. That's where we get into list, tuple, dictionary, and set as part of the collection. Then we basically, yeah, there is there is a game also which we cover as part of this course. This topic is right here, topic number 11, and this game is what we actually will be building. And once you learn how to build it, then you have to build yourself. Okay. This is a simulator game. You can move your jet and you can fire audio also to it. This is built using Python. Do it, hit it, and as soon as you are getting the force higher, the speed of the UFOs will shift. And they want to invade our planet. As soon as they invade, it will go. So you learn about this, and then as a project, you build your game. And depending on the quality of your submission, your grade will matter. Grade will show up in the certificate, and it will show up. So Pygame is a very good environment to create 2D games. And this is what you will get to learn in this course. Okay, so now we're coming back to our notebook, Jupyter notebook. So before we move on, do you have any question on these topics? Okay, no question. So we'll move on to today's topic, which is introduction to Python. Okay, and okay, so Python, as we all know, is a computer programming language. Programming is about solving some problems, some real life problem through code. Uh, and that's how we make IT systems and software systems to make life easy for our users. Okay, so can you give me some examples of some of the softwares which make our life easy? Prakash and Amritesh, can you just switch on your cameras so that we can have some interaction going?
Google.
Okay, so Prakash, Amritesh, can you give some example of some software projects or some software applications which make our life easy?
Google.
Google. Okay, Google is right answer. Google is a search engine that lets us search, right? So that is one of the applications. Anything else, Amritesh? You want to suggest something? Any software application which makes our life easy?
Spotify.
Spotify, yeah, Spotify is a music app, and yeah, okay. What's the problem Spotify is solving?
Enjoying life.
I'm having problem hearing you, so
For relaxing mind.
for relaxing mind, yeah, to make discovering, interesting music
Yeah.
for ourselves, right? Yeah, so those are the different software applications, and all those applications can be created using Python as well. And once we know Python, now this is the person, his name is Mr. Guido van Rossum. He is the creator of Python, and he created Python and released somewhere in 1991. So it's almost 30 years, and Python has evolved a lot. And Python is actually name of snake, and even in your logo you see that there are two snakes. But actually, the name which Mr. Guido picked was not because he was fond of snakes, but actually he was fond of a show called Monty Python Flying Circus Show. He was very fond of this, and that's why he picked the name for this programming language which he created. Okay, now so that is about a little bit history about Python. Now, what is Python? Python is programming language, of course, but Python is open source. Okay, so what do you understand by open source? Any guess? What do you understand by open source? There are two words in it, so let's break it. What is open and what is source?
So open source means it's like a platform that anybody can use for free and anybody can contribute to. So
You're close, yeah. So one part is correct, which is like no, anybody can contribute, which means you can actually see the source. You can see the source code, right? So the source comes from the source code. So Python programming language is also a bunch of source code, which creates you that environment to write program, and Python will understand that program, it will interpret it, and it will give you the output. Okay, so that's how the source code of Python programming language is actually open. You can see it on internet, and actually you can see it on GitHub. Okay, GitHub is a source control or version control system where you actually keep your source code online. Okay, so Python project is there on GitHub. Name is C Python. Okay, it's a flavor of Python. Now, that's what is open source. But open source necessarily may not mean it is free to use. Yeah, it is free to for you to see the code, for you to contribute. But let's say if you start using it for some commercial purpose, you're putting it in something. There may be some restrictions. Like for example, that is true for Android and as well as Java. You know who owns Java now? Java is another programming language. You know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who owns Java?
I,
I can't hear you.
so can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Aksh. Yeah.
I think Oracle owns it now.
Yeah. Okay, and it was created by.
Sun Microsystems.
Yes, very good, excellent, Aksh. Yeah, it was created by Sun Microsystem, and Oracle owns it now. Okay, so and they have made even Java open source. But if you start using Java for some purpose, then there is some royalty which needs to be paid to Oracle. Okay. Similarly for Android, even Android is open source. You can contribute, you can use it. But once you start putting it in your basically, let's say you start manufacturing mobile phones and you start putting Android there as operating system, you will have to pay license fee to Google because Google owns Android. Okay, so open source may not be free to use, but yeah, you can look at the source code. Okay, is the definition clear? Open source, right? So this is about, okay, now, oh, this is the background noise.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Is it background noise from some, okay, yes, at least not my computer. Okay,
Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I
Okay.
can hear you.
My camera was not switching on. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, okay, I can hear you. Right. Okay, so there is something called Zen of Python. It's basically uh, guiding principles or software development best practices. Okay, so a software can be written in many different ways, right? A software is like a story, right? You create something. A story can be a nice story, a story can be a badly written story, but it can convey the same meaning, right? It depends on the creator or the writer of the story. So similarly, programming code is similar to that, in which you can actually write code. Code may be doing the right thing, but there are best practices on writing good code. Okay, good code means, coding standard means you need to have proper naming convention, documentation has to be there, the code should be modular, the code you should not have a lot of duplicate code. These are some of the basic principles, and that's where a lot of guiding principles come into picture. Like, no, beautiful is better than ugly. So let's say if you're creating program which is not looking good, right? You're using some arbitrary variable names and function names. Formatting is not proper, indentation is not proper. Those are not looking good. So beautiful is better than ugly. This is one of the guiding principles. Explicit is implicit, because software program, when you're writing it, maybe if there is, let's say you're defining a variable name, you're capturing first name as the first name of the user. Now if the variable name you define as fn, it may still be understandable, but first underscore name is more understandable. Okay, so explicit is better than implicit. Simple is better than complex. Like for example, there is just a second, this thing is kind of a little bit hanging. So yeah, so if you look at this thing, you look at this code. Okay, this in just one line of code, I could create table of 7, right? It's just one line of code. But is it really understandable? Maybe not. But maybe you can understand this line of code, these lines of code, right? Can you understand these lines of code? What are these lines of code doing? Okay, Akshay, I'm not able to hear
Printing.
you.
In a for loop, I is equal to, or j is equal to, like a list, kind of like a list from 1 to 11, and each time j gets incremented by 1, it
Mhm.
prints 7 into j is equal to, and then the
Right. So basically this program, you rightly described it. Eventually this program is printing table of 7, right? Now, but this program you could understand, right, Aksh, because you have done some good bit of programming in Python. But can you understand this program? Do you understand this program?
um, I can kind of understand the
You could
one.
understand?
Yeah, but it's much harder. It takes a longer time
Yeah,
to.
it takes a longer time just by looking, because I'm printing the output, you are able to figure it out by relating with output. But if you're not able to see the output, it probably would have been hard for you to understand this program, right? So that's what it mentions, that no, simple is better than complex, but complex is better than complicated. Let's say if you are creating a, a big system, a complex system, right? Your code may not be simple, right? Your code will be doing a lot of things, right? But your code should be still written in a very good fashion, in very modular fashion, so that even though it is complex, it is not convoluted, it is not confusing, it's not complicated. Okay, so coding is writing good code is, required practice for any good software programmer. Okay, similarly there are others, you will get used to it once you are becoming more familiar with Python programming, and there is a very simple way to get it. So on your Python shell, if you just say import this. Okay, and this is again giving me some problem. Okay, let me just exit this. Okay, if I say import this, you see Zen of Python. Okay, you see Zen of Python is a programming. It's for a quick access. You want to check out, okay, what are these things? Okay, these, you should keep on referring as you become more familiar with programming environment. You should keep on referring to all this. Right. So now okay, so one of the reasons why Python is popular is because write once and run everywhere, which means you write the program in for one platform, maybe on Windows or anything else, then you can run on different operating systems like Mac, Unix, Linux. Now, my question is to you is, what is operating system? Right? My question is, what is operating system?
Windows.
Yeah, Windows is one of the examples of operating system, but what exactly is operating system?
Something that runs programs and tasks.
Something that runs programs and tasks. Yeah, but what exactly it lets you do? What programs and tasks it is running?
Excel
Okay,
sheet.
yeah.
Excel sheet.
Okay, Excel sheet is actually an application program. It is not part of operating system. Okay, operating system basically is an interface between the user, which is us, and the computer. Okay, because otherwise computer is just a hardware. Okay, Your hard disk, your RAM, or your motherboard, or your camera, all these are hardwares. Without any software, these hardware are good for nothing. They're as good as dead. Software brings it to life. Okay, all these softwares are part of your operating system, like your device drivers. Okay, then your general applications like your file explorer, because you have a storage device, you have the hard disk, and you have a lot of files in there. How do you basically look into the files? Using the file explorer, which is your yeah, Windows Explorer, right? uh, you have to use the camera. You don't have to write the code for it. You just click on a button and then your camera switches on, right? So that is again happening because your operating system is controlling that hardware through the device driver. Okay, so operating system is interface. It lets us interact with the computer, and not only Windows, Mac, but all operating systems on your mobile phone, even they are OS, like Android OS or iOS. All these things are different OS. Okay, so these are the different operating systems, and I'm sure you know about Windows, but do you know about other environments? Mac, Unix, Linux.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mac probably is Apple-based computers have Mac OS X, Mac OS, right? And what about Unix and Linux? Okay, so there are Unix computers also, like AIX computers, which is from IBM. Then you have Linux computers, right? So they are again operating systems. Now these operating systems are heavily used in production environment. Okay, because of their ability to be very efficient, because they have minimal graphical interface, like Mac or Windows. They're very rich graphics, but Unix and Linux are very good for production computers, and they're very popular in developer community. Linux more because it's it's basically improved version of Linux, of Unix, right? So Unix is not being used that much, but Linux is something which is quite popular, and it's very good operating system, heavily popular in developer community, software developer community. Okay. Okay, now we come to this. There's a programming language ranking website called PYPL. Okay, so this image has been taken from there sometime a little bit later, and you see why we are actually kind of trying to learn Python, because you see Python as a programming language is the most popular programming language than other languages, and these are the different other programming languages. Okay, so now why do you think Python is so popular? So why what are the reasons you think Python is popular programming languages, and it is becoming more and more popular? I was actually looking at this link a little bit later. You see that Python is
Simpler to
improved
use.
its share, right? It has improved. It has become 31%. Java has reduced from 19. It has become 16. Python has improved by 3%. Java has reduced by almost 3%, right? JavaScript is the same. All this, right? C# is there. C++ and C have improved a little bit, the percent share by 0.1%. Okay. So what is the reason do you think Python is gaining ground? It is becoming more and more popular.
Simpler to use and easy to understand.
Yeah, simple to use and easy to understand, right? That is one of the main reasons. But other reason is because
I
it's
think it's newer than some of the other languages as well.
okay. Actually, Python is actually not very new. If you look
I
at
mean,
this,
yeah, but
it was created in
yeah,
1991, and it was created in 1991. It's almost 30 years. But yeah, like the previous version 2.7 was not, that was also good, but not very good. 3.x version is actually very good. Okay, and this 3.x version came relatively newer, around 2012, and it is gaining ground a lot. It's of course simple to use, but with the simplicity, it does not mean that it's not powerful. It's very powerful. You saw that no table of 7 can be just created in one line of code. It's very powerful. The construct which is provides are very powerful. With that, you can actually the number of lines of code which you have to write to create a system will be much lesser than other programming languages. Okay. And other big reason is because Python is open source. You can see the source, you can fix it. And what does it mean? There's a lot of developer community which is contributing to it. And when they're contributing to it, it will start becoming more popular and popular, right? And because of its ease of use, Python programming language was a lot used by data scientists. Okay. And since it was used by data scientists, it has become a mainstream in artificial intelligence code. Okay, so it is heavily popular in artificial intelligence developer community, because the whole world is moving towards AI and ML, right? AI and machine learning, correct? So now because of that, because AI is becoming popular and Python has rich library of AI, even Python is becoming more and more popular, and more developers are moving towards Python. Okay, so this is the reason Python is gaining ground. Okay, now now if you look at other programming languages, can you tell me if you identify others, and do you know what is the purpose of other programming languages?
Sure. I think PHP is for web design.
Okay, very good. Yes. Okay, can you list out? Okay, so let's go from top. Okay, so what do you think Python is used for? What all areas you can use Python?
You think? Games.
Games, yeah.
For advanced programming.
Okay, so all these programming languages are good for advanced programming, because when we are saying advanced, anything which is used in professional environment, which is used to create real life software, real life systems, it will be advanced only. Even for that matter, even PHP is simple to pick up, but again, it is you can create advanced software programs. But yeah, Python actually is used in anything and everything, be it game development, GUI development, graphical interface development program. Then you have, of course, server-side code. You have web development frameworks like Django and Flask, right? Then, of course, you have artificial intelligence and machine learning libraries. A lot of things are there, right? So because of that, Python is there where it is, and using Python, you can do pretty much all those things. What about, and Python is especially very powerful on server-side programming. Okay. So okay, so we will just come to what is basically server. So can you tell me what do you understand by server? What is a server?
Some
It serves the data.
Which serves you, as the name says, server means it serves you, not just the data, but some response. Okay, some response when you're authenticating. No, it is saying, okay, yeah, you're authenticated, you are good to use. When you're transferring money, right, so you're able to do it. If you want to book a ticket, you can book it, right? So all those places you have server. Like for example, how many of you have tried Book My Show? You haven't tried Book My Show. The Book My Show is used to book the. Okay, okay. Book my, yeah, you can book your show tickets or your movie tickets on Book My Show. Okay, so basically the server is running at some central location, and through Book My Show you can connect to the server, and you can actually access the access the uh, functionality to book the seat, right? So if you look at it, this is basically your server. You can say that, okay, somewhere it's located in the remote. These are our clients. Let's say it's our computers, our mobile device, okay? And we connect to this server through internet. Internet is also called cloud. Okay, that's where this cloud comes into picture. The name comes into picture. So the server is sitting here, and where through this client, you can actually connect to the server. So the programming which you do on the server side is called server-side program. And the programming which you do on the client side, like for example, the web browser, the code which you see, the UI which you see, it's called client-side programming. Okay. So now if you look at, so this is a Google page, right? This is a Google web page. Now, do you know what is used to create this web page? Generally, what do you create to, what language or what tool you use to
HTML.
create the page? HTML, yes. And to style it, what do you use? Okay, so
CSS.
yes, yes, very good, Aksh. So when I say styling, you see that, no? When I'm hovering, it is showing me blue color. Then there are icons, right? Then when I'm hovering on these things, it is all these things are part of the style. Even the layout is part of the style. All that is done through CSS, which is called cascading style sheets. That is used to beautify, design your web. Okay. And then there is something called JavaScript also, which is used for client side programming. HTML and CSS is static. JavaScript makes it dynamic. Okay. So JavaScript brings dynamism to your web page, right? So client and server based applications hopefully is clear to you. And what is server-side programming is, server-side programming is something like, let's say you create a book my show server using Python. Server-side program is running here. Any request which comes from the client connects to that program. This program can actually connect to the database. It can connect to the database of that movie theater, and it can book the seat for you, and it can send you the response back to the client. Okay, so that is what is client server. So server, as the name says, it serves you with something, some service it provides you, ticket booking service or train booking service, right? All that. Okay, so pretty much Python and Java are in similar space. Pretty much they do the similar things, but Python provides you more option to do things. Java also provides you a way to write artificial intelligence and machine learning code, but not many takers, because this Java, there's not a very rich library for AI in Java. Because of that, Python is more preferred for AI programming. JavaScript is something which we discussed. It's a client-side scripting language. C# is similar to Java. PHP, as Aksh rightly pointed out, it is used for web development. It's, with a lot of ease, you can create very cool websites using PHP. Okay, but even you can use Python to do that, and with Python, you can actually create more powerful platforms. Okay, you can do with PHP also, but PHP is only limited to web development, whereas Python is everywhere. So people are preferring Python over PHP. C++ also comes in the same domain, but C++ have an advantage over other programming languages. Can anybody tell what is the advantage?
Not object oriented.
Okay, object oriented, very good. So I'm happy that you're saying that word, object oriented, right? So, okay, C is not object oriented, C++ is. For that matter, all these languages which you see here, they're all object oriented. In fact, everyone, all of them. I'm not very sure about R, but rest all are object oriented programming languages. Okay, except for C. I'm not sure about R. Okay, C is not a object-oriented programming language. So, see, advantage of C, C++, it's a compiled programming language. Okay, compiled programming language means at the time of execution, it will be much faster. So C++ is heavily popular, and for that matter, Visual C++, VCCPP, okay? That's popular in game development, in like 3D games, because your OpenGL libraries are available in C++, and there it's very fast because the code which runs very close to the hardware, and that gives it a very powerful speed. But rest of the languages are used more for application development, and they're equally good, okay? Because performance does not matter that much, because when you're talking about games, you're talking about very high-end graphics, and you're doing a lot of computation which is going on, and their speed really matters, okay? So that is the advantage of C++. Right, so now Objective-C is a little bit older. R is again used for machine learning. Okay, a lot of data scientists use R. Now, tell me, what is Swift and Kotlin? These two languages are made to the top 10 popularity chart. Can you tell me what is Swift and Kotlin? Can you tell what is Swift and Kotlin? Okay, so
I
Swift
don't
is, okay, no problem. Swift is programming language which is used to create iOS apps, iPhone apps, or even Mac apps. Okay, Macintosh, Apple devices apps. So this is the standard programming language to create those softwares. Okay. Kotlin is used in Android. It's used to create Android mobile apps. Even Java is used, and because of this reason, Java was quite popular. But now Kotlin is taking its share because Kotlin is becoming more popular as Android mobile app development programming language. Okay, so these are the different programming languages. Very interesting. All of them have different purposes, and sooner or later you may want to try out different languages, at least like maybe Python, maybe JavaScript, maybe Swift, maybe Kotlin, right? All these things you may want to try out a little later as you become more proficient in programming. Any questions so far? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So guys, I'm just giving you a little bit overview, because before delving into programming, you should understand what exactly is programming, why are we learning, and why are we doing what we are doing. Okay. So yeah, again, so this is a trend line, and you can see that no, yellow line is Python, and it's keep on increasing since last 15 years. It is becoming more and more popular. Okay, so python.org is the official website for Python programming language. Okay, you can actually go there, and you will find a lot of documentation, a lot of notes, a lot of information, and even you have this Python programming shell also there, which you can interact. Okay, so now version history. If you see somewhere, Python started in 94 Jan is what is mentioned here, and somewhere around Feb 2011 3.8 was released, and version 3 came actually into existence in 2008. Okay, Python version 3. Okay, there are still a lot of developers for Python 2.7, but we wouldn't be going into 2.7 because the support for 2.7 will be dropped this year. So we will just be looking into Python 3. And I hope you all have Python 3 or upwards installed, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let's power our shell. Let's start the Python shell. I want to see something like this. Okay, this is the Python shell. Just do this, run this command, and tell me what is the value you're getting. Just start your Python shell, run this command, and tell me the value which you're getting.
I60.
So you have done through Python shell? Python
Yes,
shell is
sir.
on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. What about you, Prakash and Naksh? And I cannot see. Can you switch on your cameras?
Sir, I'm okay.
Okay, it's always good to have a good interaction.
Wait, sir.
So run that in Python shell, okay?
Okay, it's running for you. Okay, very good. Okay, Prakash, is it running for you? You're on mute.
Wait, sir.
It works for you?
Wait. Come.
Okay, I'm not. Prakash, can you switch on your camera, please? So Prakash, is it working for you? Okay, now I cannot hear you for some reason. I hope you're able to see me. So I'm assuming that it's working. If you're not able to communicate, you can maybe put it on chat as well. No, you can actually go right here. You can click on chat and you can type something. I will get your message. Okay. If your audio is having problem. Prakash, do you hear me? If you hear me, nod.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So Python shell is working fine. This Python shell is working fine for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So this is the value which you get when you execute this simple expression in Python. Okay. Now, big players use Python. Almost all the companies in the world are actually using Python now for something or other. And Instagram uses for heavy lifting. Okay. I know you guys, all of you must be on Instagram. So I thought it's important for me to mention that. So you can see Python is used in simple scripting, which is basically in production. If you want to write some script, some server jobs, right? You can just create a Python script and you can keep it running. You can schedule it to run at a certain interval, all that you can do. Python is used in web development, numerical analysis, desktop UI, AI, scientific calculations, machine learning, then game development, a lot of things. Okay, these are different Python implementations. So when I say Python implementation, what really I mean is, so when I'm doing this kind of thing, right? I'm adding these numbers, or let's say I am just I have this. Let's say I have this star, okay, and I am just multiplying it by, let's say, 50. See, it prints star 50 times. Okay. Now, whatever I'm writing here, when I'm entering, Python is able to understand because of the Python implementation which it has provided. Okay. This is what I'm saying. Python implementation is nothing but lots and lots of code which is running behind the scene, right? So the version which we are using actually is C Python. Okay, so we are using C Python. So the version of Python which is implemented using C language. That's what we are using. There are other implementations also of Python like Jython, implementation Java, then Iron Python, Brython. All these things are different implementations of Python. Okay. So now this is Python distribution, different ways in which you can get Python. One is Anaconda. That's another way of getting complete environment of Python. Very good tool. Then yeah, you have different one, and something which we're using is PyCharm. That's not a Python distribution because you need Python along with that. Now this is how Python programmers feel, right? I'm sure you would have heard this story, right? This is the story of Thirsty Crow. So this is a smart crow who's actually a non-programmer, and this is how he will drink water. Okay, this non-programmer will do a lot of manual work to raise the level of water, and then it's going to drink it. But a programmer will make his life very easy. He will use some tool. He will do some automation, right? And he will make his life easy. He will get the reward in much easy way. But Python programmer go one level ahead. They do the same job, but with very less line of code in a very simple way. and in lot of fun way. Okay, so that is what is Python programmer, and that's made possible because of the cool Python libraries which you will see as you progress in your Python journey. Okay, so IDE we are using PyCharm, but there is other good IDEs like VS Code, Spider, and Idle also comes with your Python. Idle is something which gets installed when you have installed Python. Okay, this is Idle, and here this also gives you a shell, and it also gives you an ability to create a file, new file. And if I say new file, or I can open a file also. I've actually created some files. I'll just open it. Okay, so I open, and this is my Hello Python. I can open it and I can run this file. You can create a new file, store it somewhere, and then I can run it. To run, you just say run module, and it will execute it in the shell, in the ideally shell. Okay, it's also gives you an environment to execute Python code. And I am using Jupyter Notebook, again a very good tool which you can use for Python, learning Python or sharing your Python code. Jupyter Notebooks provides you a way to document, as well as it provides you a way to write code as well. So I can write some code snippets in Jupyter Notebook. Okay, now we come to a topic called compiler and interpreter. So do you know the difference between compiler and interpreter? Can anybody tell the difference between compiler and interpreter?
Compiler compiles it, interpreter interprets it. It is the code.
Okay, yeah, that is, you're absolutely right. But can you elaborate a little bit more? So what do you understand the compilation process, and what do you understand by interpreter?
Interpreter interprets the program for the compiler to understand it and compile it. Is it like that?
Okay, no, it's not. It's a little different. Okay, so see, compilation, when you compile, so when you write the program, right, the way we wrote this program, something like this, right? Or I can write print something, right? I can say hi. Now, computer is a machine, and computer as a machine understands only the binary code, which is your machine code, and that code actually is in zeros and ones. Okay, the program which we are writing is in high level language, right? Here I'm using Python programming language, which is a high level programming language. And but eventually computer has to get the input in zeros and ones, because computer will understand only zeros and ones. It will not understand this. So your compiler or your interpreter will do the job for you. It will convert your high level program into machine code, into machine language code, okay, which will be in zeros and ones, right? Now, compiler will actually completely compile it in one shot. You give it the source code and it will completely compile it, while as interpreter will interpret line by line, okay? It will interpret by line. So when you're writing, let's say your program has 10 lines of code, Python is not going to compile everything. It is going to interpret line by line. Okay. So now the question is, which one will be faster? So this is basically how compiler works. So you take the source code, there's a process of compilation. So when you're using C++, after writing the program, what you have to do is you have to first compile it, and then you run the compiled file, right? So this is how your compiler works, right? Whereas interpreter, you give the source code, interpreter will start giving you output. It will just start executing it. There is no intermediate step. So the question is, which one will be faster?
Interpreter.
Okay, interpreter. What do you guys say, Aksh?
Compiler.
Compiler. What do you say, Aksh?
Compile.
Compiler, okay. So now, so Prakash, why do you think interpreter will be faster?
I don't know. Just
Okay. So, Amritesh, why do you think compiler will be faster?
Because it compiles it at once, and interpreter compiles line by line, which will take longer.
Yeah, right. So you're right. Even though the compilation will take some time, but eventually when you're executing it in production environment, the compiled code will be faster because compiled code is already in machine language. There is no conversion happening at the time of execution. Whereas when it comes to interpreter, the interpretation of line by line is happening at the time of execution, right? So interpreter is slower. So Python in the runtime environment will be slower. Okay, but that, as I was telling you, C, C++ are compiled languages. So that's why they're used in heavy graphics, because there you need your software to be much faster. But when it comes to application programming, generally you don't have that intensive computation to run, and that's why Python will be equally good. Okay, it will not feel slow if you're using Python or other programming language. Okay, so is this clear? Any question you have on this?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So now, I will be sharing this notes. I will also share this video because I'm recording it, and you can read out the differences about interpreter and compiler. Okay, how exactly it works, right? Let's write a program. So whenever you're learning a new programming language, as a ritual, you have to write a hello program. So you have to say hello world or hello Python program. Okay, so let's write this program in first let's write it in shell, and then we will go to PyCharm. So just write it. You go to your shell, you just say print, and then you open single quote or double quote, anything is fine. You say hello Python, okay, and then you just hit enter. So let's all run so that we do this ritual of learning this new programming language, which is Python. Let me know once you're done with it. Done?
Answer.
Okay, so you said hello to Python, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, now let's open PyCharm. Aksh, are you familiar with PyCharm? Have you been using PyCharm? Okay, Aksh, I think you're on mute, Aksh, or you're not?
Yeah, sir, I just downloaded it recently, but I think it's pretty similar to Visual Studio.
Oh, you have used VS Code?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, VS Code is quite similar and it's more advanced than PyCharm. But for Python class, you can use either. You can use Visual VS Code or you can use PyCharm as well. Okay, so now you probably should have created my projects, all of you in PyCharm. Have you done that?
Mm.
So you can just create your project, my project. Okay, my project is created. So once you have my projects, you just go to new and then you say Python package. And then you write session 1. Okay. And then hit OK. So you'll get a folder called session 1. Right? Again, you right click on my projects, go to new Python package, write session 1, hit OK. Once you do that, you'll get a folder like this. All of you are there?
Sir, what do I do? It says no Python interpreter configured for this project.
Okay, but you have Python installed, right?
I don't have C Python.
Okay, well, so
Sir, can I share my screen? I'll show you.
okay, I'll just stop my share. Yeah, okay, share the screen.
It says host disabled participant screen
Sorry.
share.
Okay, try now.
Okay, yeah. Sir, so I have PyCharm.
Well,
And then I have Python shell.
okay, Python shell is
I have, sir, I forgot, it's called idle.
okay, so you installed idle specifically, you did not install Python?
No. So should I
Oh,
install from
yeah, you can actually go to
GitHub?
I'll just share my screen and tell you, you can quickly do that. Should not take much of your time. So
For me, it's stuck at creating virtual environment.
it will take some time.
Oh, okay.
Just give it a minute. So you go to python.org and then you go to downloads. Okay, you download Python. Okay, so you click on this button, it should start installing, and you should, when you are about to install, just make sure you check the path box. Okay, so I'm just telling you what exactly I mean. So when you about to install, you just make sure you check this box, add Python to path. Okay, so that it is there in the path variable. And then you can actually go ahead with the installation. Okay, you select this and then you can say install now. Okay, so Aksh got exited. Okay, how about you, Prakash? Is your PyCharm working?
Yes, it is working.
Okay, so you just create this my projects, inside that create session 1.
So this is first time I'm using PyCharm. I'm not able to understand anything.
Okay, no worries. Is your my project created?
I didn't get the option. It's just Python project.
Sorry, my laptop died.
Okay.
Can you, sir, I go to python.org.
Okay. So python.org, you click on downloads. You can see my screen, right?
No, sir, I'm just following your instructions.
Okay,
Download
just go to downloads and then you download Python from there. You have to just click on downloads and you have to download Python from there. Okay.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, so I will stop my screen share. Prakash, you can share your screen.
How do you create? Sir, I'm not able to understand.
Yeah, so just share your screen. I'll tell you how to do it.
Should I share mine?
Yeah. you share your screen, Prakash?
1 minute.
Oh, is it? Okay, wait. I'll stop. 1 minute. How do I stop? Then stop.
I'll stop it for you. Okay. Okay. So it's okay. Yeah. Fine. So
What should I do, sir?
okay. Yeah. So just click there. I'm not able. No. Just click at an empty space. Yeah. Session 1 is where you are, right? You created session 1 twice. Okay. So yeah, just go there. Right click on that.
Wait, sir.
On session 1, just right click on that.
Sir.
New
Yeah.
Python file.
Yeah.
Type a name. Let's say hello. Hello_Python. Or hello is also fine. Just hit enter. Hit enter.
Wait, sir.
No, no codes. No codes. Don't give any code there. You're giving code there. Just say hello and hit enter. Yeah. Now you write print. Yeah. Just in bracket. Open bracket. Quotes.
What, sir?
Quote. Put a quote. Double quotes or single quote.
Sir.
Yeah. Say hello Python. Okay, now you bring your mouse on the editor and you say right click, not there, below.
Sir, I
Yeah,
downloaded
right click.
Python and
Yeah,
now
just say run hello. Just a second, Aksh. Yeah, just say run hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it works. You can drag this window a little bit below so that you see both. This console window, just drag it a little bit below. Go ahead, go above a little bit. No, just go above. Go to the head of this window, not completely head, little bit below. Little bit below. No. Just you have to just drag it little below. Just go to next to hello where you can see hello, right?
Yes, sir.
Go a little bit above. There is one hello more at the title of this window. Title of this window.
1 minute, sir.
Below, little below.
Here, sir. Here.
No, on the top. Go to the. Okay, little down. Just that's it. Drag it. Yeah, bring it below. More. Yeah, that's it. So now you can see both. You can write your code and then you can run it also. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I will just stop the share for you.
Sir,
Aksh, sorry, you were saying something, Aksh.
working, so should I use VS Code?
You can use VS Code, yeah. And but Aksh, you are able to see my screen. Otherwise, how will you follow the class?
Yes, sir. I can see it now.
Okay, good. You can use VS Code. So just create a hello Python file and then just run that code, hello Python. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now we will just take a quick break of 5 minutes. Okay. Let's get back at about 6:28. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Right. So let's take a quick screen break, 5 minutes. 6:28, we meet back.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we create a file in session 1 called area of circle. Okay, once you create this, hit enter. Okay, and you will get a file something like this. Let me just delete this. Python file, area.
So how do we create like session 1?
Yeah, so you can create session 1.
My project.
You can actually go to my projects, right click, and say new Python package.
Yeah.
So once you do that, then you can type session 1.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir.
And then inside session 1, you right click, Python file, and say area of circle. And this is what you will get, empty file, empty Python file.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do I do with init or init.py initialize it?
Sorry?
So what do I do with init.py
Don't worry about that. That's
and main.py as well?
yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so just go to session 1 and create the file. Area of circle is what you have to type, and by default, PyCharm will add the extension .py.
Yeah.
So Python files, you have extension as .py. Okay. Now the formula for area of circle is pi r
Square, pi r square.
yeah, great, right? So this is what we are going to, we will create a program to find radius of a circle whose, sorry, to area of a circle whose radius is 50. Okay. So now to do that, what we have to do is, first of all, we have to create some variables, right? First of all, we have to create a variable r, or maybe radius, to hold the value 50. This is the radius which I'm supplying. This is the radius of the circle for which I want to find the area. And pi is a constant, right? The value of pi is 3.14, right? Then area is equal to pi into r into r. Okay. So this is how we will create, this is how we will calculate the area of circle by doing this arithmetic operation, and then we will assign to area. Okay. And then you can print area. Okay. So let's just write this program, and then we will find out what exactly are different elements in this program. Okay, and to run, you just right click on that and you say run area of circle.
It's not working.
Is it working for you? Not working?
So it's not letting me, it's giving me, it's underlining it in red whenever I do print. So one sec, can I share my
Will
screen?
you be able to? Yeah, okay. So let's stop share. Just share your screen.
Yeah. So I can't, if I try running circle area, then nothing happens, and it's giving me a red underline under.
Yeah, I don't know what is the Python version you're using. Are you on 3.1 or what exactly it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like it is.
Installed, sir.
No, just hold on. So what you can try.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, just there it shows error. Now you actually hover over this error. See what it shows. Unresolved reference print. Okay, that is so weird.
Should I try using VS Code, sir?
This is, you're on VS Code or you're
Oh, this is PyCharm.
PyCharm? Okay. So this should work, but it's unresolved reference. Just can you just go to file, above, yeah, settings, yes, no, below, yes, no, below, above, settings, yeah, right. So now you select your my first project, below, little bit below, yeah, keep coming below, little bit, that's it, this, yeah, click on Python interpreter. You're in pip and you're using
I'm using the Windows app.
3.1. Yeah, Python interpreter looks to be fine. Then I'm not sure what's going wrong with this. But okay, so you were able to. Okay, I'll just request for the control. Okay, just can you give me control? Just give me control. Just say okay. Okay, now let's see. Okay, that is problem, right? Okay. So Python environment and Python interpreter, all that looks to be fine. The Python project, right? So if I say my project new window.
So you might not be able to see the new window because I'm only sharing one screen.
Oh, you're sharing just one screen. Okay.
I just share a different one, sir.
Yeah, so.
I'm just gonna share my other screen.
Yeah, so now you share the whole desktop. So just creating the environment. So what about you, Prakash and Amritesh? Is it working for you, area of circle?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is the result you're getting when you're running it?
7850.0.
Okay, okay. Okay, so now we'll just try to. Seems to be working. 3.1. 4 into 50 into 50. I don't know what was the issue there. Maybe some invalid character or something. It seems
I
to be.
think it was just in maybe because the window was open before I downloaded Python or something.
Maybe because you created it, it did not properly hook it. I think it's all good. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to stop sharing for you, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, super. So let's quickly look at this program. So now when we are writing this program, first of all, we have created these variables, right? These are nothing but some names which we have given to some values. When you're creating programs, you create lots and lots of value, lots and lots of variables, because you have to do a lot of manipulation, hold values, no? Because of that, you would need a lot of variables. Okay, so R is one of the variable which we use, which we need for this program, and I have assigned it a value 50. So assignment happens from rights to left. So whatever is on the left will get the value from the right. That is how variables work. And equal sign is the assignment operator, because we are assigning value from right to left, and equal is the sign for assignment operator. Now pi is another value. I have defined pi is another variable whose value it is holding is 3.14, right? Now R is a variable, it's a container to hold any value. Now since it is variable, we can change the value what R is holding. So at the moment, what is the value R is holding? At this line of code, what is the value R is holding? 50, yes. So let's say if I say R is equal to R plus 10, what is the value R will hold now? 60, yes. So,
I made it take an input.
okay, that's fine. That is the second thing which I wanted to tell, take input, okay. So that's fine. So then, then we are doing arithmetic operation. This is actually an expression which we are evaluating. So anything which is a logical piece of code which can be executed as an expression, and expression will have a value. And the value of this expression, we are assigning it to another variable called area. And here we are printing this area. Now, what is print?
Sir,
Prints the statements in double quotes.
Value.
Okay, print prints a value. Print is actually a function. Okay. Now, indication of function is function will always have parentheses, something like this. Okay. Function has some functionality. So within print, it is written somewhere, it has some functionality. So functionality of this is to take in the value and display on the screen. That is what is print is doing. Okay. So this is basically a very simple Python program, and we change the radius from 50 to 60. So that value has changed. Now we actually go to another program called swapping the numbers. So what is swapping the numbers? What is swapping means?
Changing the values of one variable to another variable.
Yeah, so it's basically interchanging the values. Now, if you have to swap, so here the values of A and B are 10 and 20. If you have to swap the value, how will you do that?
A is equal to B and B is equal to A.
Okay, if you do A is equal to B and B is equal to A, what happens is the value of B will be assigned to A. Okay, in this line of code, whenever you're executing the program, it will run from top to bottom. Okay, from top it will start, it will run line by line, it will keep on progressing towards the bottom. As soon as it comes to this line, now because this is an assignment operator, and as I said, assignment happens from right, this side, to left, this side. Okay, some in this direction. Okay. We can say it is in this direction, right? So B to A, this is the way assignment will happen. Okay, so the value of B will be assigned to A, but what happens to the value of A?
It's overwritten.
Yeah, it is overwritten, so the value of A is lost. So at this point of time, A and B become exactly the same. And if you do the same thing happens, A and B become exactly the same. So we can actually run and verify. So in Jupyter Notebook, I can run and verify the code. I'm running this, and you say this, this is my output. This is the swap program to swap two numbers. And this is the value before swapping. And after this statement, see the value, both of them are holding 20 because the value of B was 20, and that's what we assigned to A. Okay, so this is not working. Now what should we do to make it work?
Third variable.
Yeah, we should use a third variable. Very good. So there we assign the value of A so that C holds the value of A, and when we do this assignment of value of B to A, the value of A is not lost, it is held in C. So what should we do here to complete the swap?
B is equal to C.
Yes, B is equal to C.
C is a temporary variable.
C is a temporary variable. Very good. Yes, this is what will happen. And here you see the swap has happened successfully. 1020 became 2010. Very good. So that is how you do this program. Okay. Aksh, is it clear? Prakash, is it clear how to swap two numbers?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Aksh, it is clear to you also, right? Okay, actually, I'm not able to hear you. Maybe probably some issue on your side.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I understand, sir.
Okay, now Python provides you a cool way of doing things. Now, instead of this 3 lines of code, you can do the swap in just one line, which is this line. Okay. So simply you say A comma B is equal to B comma A. And this is a Python way of swapping. And you're all done. So let's run this. You see 1020 became 2010. Okay, this is the way how you can do in Python. But there is an underlying concept which is coming into play. Okay, so that you will understand in later chapters, but this is how you can actually do the swap here. Now, many times in the program, you want the user to provide input. Okay, so you want to capture information from the user, and for that, Python provides us a very good way of doing it. It's called input function. Okay, you use input function to capture information from the user. So when you say input, you pass on a string to it, and this string will be prompted to the user, and the user can act according to this prompt. So we are using one input here to capture the name of the user, and then we are using another input here to capture the age of the user. Okay, now let's just run this. Okay, so we are just running. Run the cell. So what is your name? So my name is Dhananjay. Okay, and I hit enter. So it prints, okay, your name is Dhananjay. Okay, it got this value, your name is Dhananjay. Now, what is your age? Okay, so it is asking me what is your age. So here I enter 25. So it got the age, okay, and then it did a mathematical operation and said, you will be 100 years old in this much time. Okay, so it has printed this value in this much time. Okay, so is the purpose of input clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it same for PyCharm also, like what you use in Jupyter?
Yeah, it is same as in PyCharm. So now we are going to change this program to capture input from the user. Okay, enter radius, right? We will just say that. Okay, now when we run it, see there's a prompt come, enter radius, and then this radius we are going to provide, let's say we're going saying 50. Okay, but here when this program runs, it is going to fail. Aksh, can you tell me why it will fail?
Because you need to make the input as an integer. So you
Yes.
need to put, because if you put it as a string, then it'll multiply a string by.
Yes, very good. So exactly right. So I'm just going to run it and then I'll explain. See, it has failed. It's saying that can't multiply non-int. So when you're taking input using input function, then any input which you provide will come as a string, whether it is a number, whether it is a word, whether it is a decimal number, all will come as a string. So you need to convert. You have to convert it into integer. To convert it, you're just going to write int. Okay. So whatever the value, you can actually do the conversion here, or you can also do the conversion in the next line. I know that, okay, this is string, so I'm just going to do the conversion right here. Okay, so I'm converting at this point
Can we
of
like
time. Yeah,
Sir, another way you can do it is you can put like integer input enter radius.
integer input. That's what I did earlier, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, yeah, you can do this like that, and you can also do it in this way.
Oh, I didn't see that, sir.
Yeah, okay.
you
So
can't put int in before R like in Java how you do. You can't do that in Python. Like int R is equal to input.
int R is, you mean casting is what you're saying?
No, before R you write int, not explicit typecasting.
You're talking about defining the variable types, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in Python, you don't define the variable types by uh, providing it a keyword. The variable types are decided by the value you assign to it.
You should
Okay,
like
So it
just put in
automatically
like variable
converts.
automatically it decides a variable type, and accordingly the functions and other operations you can do according to that variable type. But one cool part about Python is you can change the variable type. As you see here, at this point of time, let's print and see what is the type of this variable R at the moment. Okay, let's type it. Now I'm going to convert it into int. Okay, and I'm going to print the type of R here, right? So at this point of time, what is the value, what is the type of R? And then after conversion, I'm just printing the type of R. Let's see what happens. So enter the radius, 50 again. See, first it was string, okay? Because we have captured input from the user can actually provide any input. Even you say, okay, enter radius. No, he can actually, the user can do something else. He can write radius as FIFTY, right? What do you do with that? So it lets you capture the user input anyway, any character which user enters, and then you have the control in the program. You can decide whether you want to process or not. Okay. So that's how you convert it into int right here, and then you're getting the response. Okay. We are able to check the type of these variables also. This is how you can do it.
You have to typecast it.
You can also say typecasting, yeah, but these are the helper function, which is int. You can also say it is typecasting. Okay, but we are just pretty much converting. Okay, we are converting from one type to another. You can actually also convert to float. Okay, you can convert to float as well. So it's a 50, and then it's converted to float. Okay, so that's how you capture input. And when you're capturing the input, you get as a string. You have to convert it to make it use if you want to use it as anything other than string. Okay, so now in Python, the way you write documentation, which is your comments, is by putting hash. One hash is to write comments. Okay. Comments are very useful to document your code, and it's very useful to explain your code to others and even to yourself sometime in future, because in future you may not remember what exactly your complicated 100 lines of code is doing. Okay, and in Python, even though a hash is used for single, like one line comment, single line comment For multi-line comment, you can use 3 quotes. Okay, 3 quotes. This becomes a multi-line comment. Wherever comments are there, Python interpreter is going to ignore it. It will not execute those programs. It will execute the program which are not commented, which is something like this. So if I am running this, okay, if I run this, this is how it executes. Okay, it just simply ignores it. This is for user to read. This is for users. Python program interpreter will completely ignore it. Is it clear? Any question?
Awesome.
Okay, good. So with that, actually, we're coming to the end of the class. Any questions so far in the class? Anything which you thought you want to ask, or things are very clear and you understood everything what I had to explain you?
I understood everything.
Okay, good. Prakash, how about you?
Understood, sir.
Okay, good. So I will just leave you with this gentleman's photograph and the thoughts of this gentleman. And who's this gentleman?
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, he was actually, is not anymore, but he's the founder of Apple, and he is the kind of father of Macintosh computers and even iPhone, right? And he says, everyone should learn to code. It teaches you how to think. Okay, programming is all about breaking complex problem into smaller pieces and then solving them, logically arranging them. Okay, a lot of things going on, so a lot of things goes on in programming, so it helps you, it improves your thinking capability. Okay, so this is what gentleman says. Programming for all of us is very important to learn, and we should keep learning because we are moving into more technological advanced world, right? So more we know now, better it will be for us. Now, so I will be sharing you a video and this notes. There are some assignment in this notes. You can actually do them. There are some readings. You can do some reading, about operating system, client server. There are some links which have very good documentation for these topics. You can actually read them and understand them more. Okay. So with that, actually, we come to the end of this class. Hopefully it was informative to you, it was useful, and you will make good use of it. Okay, so okay, then we will just, if you don't have any other question, we will close this call.
Okay, so
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Prakash, you're saying something?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Okay. Okay, great. So I will basically send you this document. There's some reading also which you can do, and there are some notes, basically some online reading which also you should do, and some assignments, some simple assignments to do. What are the programs you did today? You can maybe try out, your inputs and all that. You can try it out.
Okay.
Okay,
okay,
then?
sir.
Okay, guys.
Can
So
you
that,
show the code for 1 second, sir?
yeah, sure. So this is basically the code for creating the input, right? And you can convert it to float, or you can convert it to int also, right? So I will actually, what I'll do, I'll just paste it on chat as well so that you can copy it. Chat window is here, I think. I'll just paste this code. You can maybe, if you want, you can just copy it. I'm just basically typing, basically printing type of R. Type will tell me what is the data type of the variable or even a value. And then I'm converting into float, and then I'm calculating the area. Okay, and this is how you actually read the input from the user. Input example is also there in the code. Okay. So
Okay.
in the notes, you have this example for input, which is right here. Okay. And here also you see that no, we are converting into int because we want to do mathematical operation, right? We want to do arithmetic operation. So it has to be a number. So we have converted into int. Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay then guys, take care and have a very good evening. Okay. And then maybe we'll meet again in the future. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks
Thank
for
you, sir.
coming to class today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye. Welcome.